Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another um, Awaking Happiness live video this morning. And I'm joined here as ever by Desi. Morning, Desi.
Morning, Chris. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well.
Okay, now today's episode, we've touched on this subject before elsewhere, somewhere, but not quite the same and not from quite the same perspective, which is so the title is Escaping the Stickiness of the Matrix. Now, what do we mean by Matrix? Well, what we mean by Matrix, if you've watched any of these films, the Matrix, basically you've got Neo and Morpheus and co. Basically saying this regular world, the normal world, is a veil which is basically draped across our reality, and it isn't real. And behind it, there's a few troopers and a few people sort of persevering um, to basically help people out of this illusionary world if they would like to. Um, and periodically, this illusory world, which is called the Matrix, kills them all, these renegades, and then basically puts one back in to start it all again, because essentially, without this managed anomaly, then the whole thing would come crashing down. So even the people looking like they're fighting against the illusion are being managed. So you could say that out there you've got people that are slagging off society, but they're an acceptable level of slagging off society, and they're allowed to perpetuate because they can't really do any serious damage in the fullness of time. So that's the background to what this is. Now, bringing that down into our current scenario, it's remarkably similar in the we don't even it's like we don't even know mostly that this world out there is illusionary. And I know there'll be people who watch this who'll go, "What are you talking about? It's illusionary. It's deluded. We're deluded. What are we talking about? It's real. There's a table over there. There's chairs over there. There's my workplace. There's my this. There's my that. There's money. There's governments. There's all these armies fighting each other, killing each other, etc., etc. How can you say that's illusionary? It's real. It's going on." And yeah, um, you can see that is happening. But what about you? Do you wanna do you want to be in a world which is controlled by money, and everything that you think about revolves around money, pride, and ego? Am I doing better than this person? Will I lose face if this happens? Uh, have I got enough money in order for me and enough money to survive in this world? And those people that don't like what's going on and want to escape from that, rather, it's rather insipid, really, world where there are few people who are controlling everything, and then there's the rest of us who are basically dealing with the dregs and being labelled whatever the system decides they want to label us. Um, and you could, it's a decision, isn't it? It's like, do I like this or don't I like it? And it's a really tough decision, because every single person out there, pretty much, except for the few people who basically are labelled as madmen, insane people who basically don't who want to be free, who literally do want to be free. Um, and then there's everybody else that thinks they're free, but of course, is conditioned by the way the world works. And, you know, it, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like other people tell you it should be. And that's down to you. But the problem is that it's very, very sticky, this matrix. And we were talking about this earlier, and I had a conversation even earlier than that today. It's like everywhere you look, your frames of reference are defined by what the matrix has defined, and what society has created. So you might say, I really want to be doing what I want to do. I don't want to have to go to work. I don't want to have to get in the car. I don't want this mad boss I've got. I just want to be doing my thing with enough money. Bang. We're straight in with enough money. Bang. There it is. That's what the world has told you. You can only do what you want when you want with who you want if you have enough money. First fallacy.
First
Straight there.
condition, you need to have money.
Yeah. So the prerequisite for happiness becomes money. So, oh, my life's like, I can never be happy because I never have enough money. Well, you know, okay, maybe next life then. This one's a write off already. This one's a car crash. Um, we could see what happens in the next one. But guess what? It never get. Whether you believe in that or you don't believe in it, doesn't really matter. It never gets easier. It never gets easier until you've dealt with the issues.
Yourself. Mm.
And money's probably the biggest one, but pride and ego are huge as well. Like people not doing things or doing things because what other people will think. It's like, what does it matter really what other people think? Well, it's easy for you to say you don't have anything and you're not important and no one knows about you or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's freedom, and yeah, but I want people
It's,
to know who I am. I want people to know I want to be somebody.
yeah.
And
So what that stickiness is made of is a lot of people, well, most people's fear. Most people's fear from getting out and doing something different. Sometimes this fear is so sticky and so big that they can't even afford to think about it being any other way. So I have a colleague, and when I decided to quit my job, and she had moved school before that, but we were keeping in touch via like the normal WhatsApp and text messages. So I told her that I'm leaving my job, and she says, "Where else? What's your next school?" And I said, "Well, I don't have one." "Oh, so what are you going to do?" And I'm going to do this, I said. And she says, "Oh, okay, good. But is that going to be enough? Is it going to generate enough money for you to be able to survive?" And I said, "Probably yes." I don't know. I hope so. And then she says, "Oh, I wish I could be as brave as you so I could do the same because I'm fed up with this job myself."
and you know what? The key there in what you said is a leap of faith. Right, it's a leap of faith. It's like I really don't know what the future holds, and none of us do. None of us know that at all. We might think we do, but we don't. We have no idea what's coming, do we? Like, no one would have started a war. No one would have had a pandemic. No one would have had all these things. Given the choice, we'd have said, no, no, not that option, please. But anyway, it happened anyway, whether we liked it or not. So the leap of faith is basically it's based on one thing, really, which is whatever comes, I am confident I can deal with it.
It's the self the image that we have of ourselves. That's what it comes down to. What is the image that we have of our capabilities, of our what is our mental state, how much fear we have, and if it's not, or if you are aware that you have it and you want, and we want to get rid of it, or somehow transform it into belief instead of fear
Because,
of something that we don't know, turn it into, oh, this is going to be exciting.
well, yeah, I mean, like, let's just dissect it slightly more, right? So I'm going to leave this, and then, but, well, hang on. What if I don't earn enough money? I'm going to
Mm.
lose the house. I'm going to not be able to buy any food. But then what will people think of me, for heaven's sake? Giving up the job, and now I'm stuck in this, and people are going to go, "Oh, I told you you were stupid," and everything else. And then you beat yourself up, and you get into a depression, and like it's like, and you stop thinking about, okay, well, no, I've got no money. What can I do about that? Well, okay, I can just go and like get a local job for a few hours a day, and that'll mean I got some food. Okay, so that one's sorted out. I'm going to lose the house. Okay,
Yeah, but
well,
then there is, yeah, oh, well, look at you. You quit your beautiful job to do this shit job. You're going downhill.
yeah, right. So you're going downhill, right? Yeah. You said it because that's what your kids have said to you. Yeah, you're going downhill, mum. Like you had this, read that, and now you're going downhill, right? Right, they're in the system, right, and they're trying to persuade you to get back in the system because what's happened? Your
Change.
your reckless behavior is now threatening their status quo. So they are being forced to change because of you, and they don't like it. And so instead of saying, "Oh, right, okay, why has Mum suddenly lost her mind and she's going down this? What? Why is she doing this? I don't because the reason why they're suggesting this is because it's the easy choice and it doesn't require their understanding. They understand the system and how that works. A little, from as far as how much they've touched it, but you get a job, you get a decent job, you get a house, you get kids, you get married. You like this is how it is. No, it's not how it is. It's
Well,
how
this
you.
is how I thought it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how
we've
I was
all
brought up
look. We've
to
all done
believe
it.
that. Hmm.
We've all done it, right? And you send them to school and they get indoctrinated and they now believe that what you've been telling them is true as well. And they just carry on replicating the same load of drivel and it just carries on ad infinitum, like, and of course, if someone says, no, I'm not doing that anymore, it's like, oh my God, what's happened? Right?
Come back here, you naughty child.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, oh, hang on! I really don't understand this. You're an idiot. Get back on the treadmill because like you're causing a bit of angst here, and my life's not as rosy as it's not. Yeah, there's some like disorienting things going on here, and I'm not comfortable anymore. Yeah, well, that's where growth happens in the non-comfort zone, and you know. But it's really tough, isn't it? Because you ain't got the kids, you got your parents. They're basically trying to get you to get back on the treadmill. Oh, mum's lost her mind. Oh, my daughter's lost her mind. We didn't teach her up, bring her up like this. We brought her up to be responsible and everything else. And now she's like, she seems to have. I know it's that Chris Ogle guy. He's the fool. He's some kind of weirdo as well. Right? He doesn't seem to be doing
He's
anything.
got bad influence.
He's just bad influence. He's drifting about, planting seeds every now and then, building some nonsense down the allotment. Like, what's that all about? You're like, he's not, interested in. They've never been down there. Like, that's an interesting statement, isn't it? What are they scared they're going to find something?
They're just not interested in any of this. But
Yeah,
anyway, so why is it so sticky? Because people try to push you back where you belong.
yeah, but more importantly, you listen and you
Hmm.
doubt,
Yeah,
and you
because the
doubt.
fears start coming up.
Right.
These
So
fears.
the reason it's sticky is because one day you've kind of got control of this beast, and then something happens and then you haven't got control of the beast and it's like, oh no, you're right, I haven't got any money. Oh no, oh no, what yeah, what's mum gonna think? Oh no, yeah, I've got, and you start really getting into this state again, and then all that work that you did the 2 days before, where you kind of overcame it comes back again, and you got to overcome it again. And this is not easy stuff. This is painful stuff, because you have to face all your demons all over again. It's like
Mm.
it's a
Yeah.
and it's non-depleting armor. You bash them, you fight them all off.
Well, you
Really,
produce and then you produce them again.
yeah, and then you create another army to battle with you
Mm.
again. So go away, like and you're fighting away, and then they come back and they keep coming back. But each time they come back, they're not quite as strong as they were the first time. And in the
Yeah.
end, you finish them off for good. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see they're there, but they're in the distance. They're no threat anymore, and they're just over there playing around. It's like, just stay over there because you're strong enough now. They don't dare come over there and try and do battle with you. But how long does that take? Can take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Depends on you and what you're capable of doing. But primarily, you have to be able to take a leap of faith and basically face your demons. And the real reason that the matrix is sticky is because you've been indoctrinated for all of your life, and here you're on your own fighting this massive global monolith, and they're all they're all going in a different direction. And I remember, reading an article that said if you find yourself going in the same direction as everybody else, turn around and go because you're going in the wrong
Yeah.
direction. And but it is so hard. You keep getting dragged back, and you got to face it again, and eventually you can break free. But it's
It's very sticky.
yeah, because every frame of reference is based on existing indoctrination that you've had. This goes for anybody and everybody. It's like, going to we need some food. We go to the supermarket. Oh yeah, but I haven't got any money. Like, you're back to the money again. Like, it's all back to the. It's like, oh, I've got to get some money. I've got to go out to work. I've got to do this. This is pressing on you, and it might not even be. You might even not be consciously aware of it, but inside it's undoing you.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's tough because you have to keep, like, how many times you've said the same thing to me. It's like they're getting weaker, these things, but you just need to now reminding. Oh yeah, that was the answer for that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll have that one. Yeah, and you just get better and better at it, and then you don't have to even air it. You start. I had this problem. I've sorted it. Like, okay, great. And we move. Yeah, but it's when everything is an illusion. You gotta, just seeing one chink in the armor, it isn't enough. You got to almost absorb the whole thing before you can make any move. And how big's that? That's where all these conspiracy theories come from. It's like people say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." Well, no, I'm just observing what happened and coming up with a different solution to it, rather than
Or conclusion, yeah.
believing what everybody else is believing, because they're pumping it on the TV and in the newspapers. It's just an alternative explanation of the facts, which we can agree on. But your view is this, and my view is that, and you know, selling isn't any different, is it? Like, my solution allow you to do this and this, and you'll get to this position. The other person's solution will enable you to do this and this, and they're different solutions, and there's different ways of thinking about it. So people who've got iOS and Apple, they think about computing in that way, and the other people with Microsoft think about it in that way. And
Hmm.
like, the people who are really in love with Microsoft think the people with Apples are idiots for spending all this money, and the people with Apples think that the Microsoft people, how can you put up with this shit? It's like it's just a different explanation of the same story, isn't it? There's no difference.
Well, it's what was it? As up, so below. Um, in every level of our,
It's
we open
always,
our eyes and there is division already.
yeah. There's like, this coin. There's two sides to it. There's always two sides to it. The two sides are part of the coin. So we've got life and we've got different sides. The point is, you can't deny the other side, because the reason you exist is because there is
It's
the other
because of
side.
them. Yeah.
And you only have strength because the other side's also strong. Otherwise, it'd be a wibbly wobbly coin, wouldn't it? Like, without, you can't have it. It doesn't work. Um, but yeah, but it's very,
So what does
very.
it take? What does it take to get out of the matrix? It takes a lot of internal work and it takes a bit of support from the outside. So you're
Well,
not battling your demons by
I
yourself.
mean, it takes a lot of support from the outside, and that might be in form of regular contact. It might be in terms of money. It might be in terms of resources. It might be in terms of just reminding people of why they're doing this or whatever. It's just huge. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
possibly
actually, it is
underestimate
huge. It is
it.
actually huge. You're right.
Very often
Yeah.
those people are sacrificing something to support your growth. And
Mm.
yeah, those people without that support don't make it. Uh,
I'm really grateful for it. Yeah.
One in 1,000 or one in 10,000 maybe can get out without anybody helping. And even though they say, "Oh, I did it on my own," probably they did have help. They're just denying. They're just deluding themselves. No support. And it's a massive task. And I think the reason why a lot of people don't fail is because they underestimate how difficult it's going to be. They really do underestimate it, and they really underestimate how much personal development they've got to go through, and it's never ending. So it's like it's not a recipe for those who are weak of weak of mind and weak of thought, because it requires, like, it's nice meeting people who've got the same thinking as you, but they're not supporting you in your transformation. They're just nice because it's like in an echo chamber. You're not on your own in this world thinking the way you do. That's okay, that's nice, but it doesn't help, does it, when you wake up on a Sunday morning and you start having the EBGBs about what you're doing again, and it's like those people aren't available, and what they're going to say, they're probably in the same boat themselves. It's like it's not, when you need someone there that can basically not just say, "Oh, get back on there. You've had enough of all this turmoil now. Go back to the schools." And because that's what a lot of partners do. I told you it wasn't going to work. I told you it was going to be
Mm.
tough. And now, look, you're suffering. You're right, but no, you're claiming yourself back, clawing yourself back, and your soul and everything from the clutches of this system, which would have you dead just as much as have you alive. They don't care. It's not
They
caring.
don't care. The minute you die, they're gonna replace you, or they just fire you and find someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you
They
take
don't
someone that
care
works.
about you at
You
all.
take you take someone who works for the council. Yeah, like, "Oh, I find it really hard here because these poor people don't have any money now." Well, if you don't want the job, I'll give it to somebody else.
Hmm.
So you're now facing the problem of, either I work here doing something I really don't feel I'm comfortable
It's it,
doing,
it goes
but I've
against my
got
principles.
but I
Hmm.
got the money, or I sell my soul, stay here and keep the money, or I just say, "No, sod you lot. I'm joining
Mm.
the other side. I'm going," and you find something else to do. It's not easy.
And I remember many years ago, good 6 my website said, um, find the freedom you want, or on a journey to find freedom, or something about freedom. And I thought I was well on the way to find my freedom. I was still at school and I was propagating the idea of freedom to people. And how delusional does that seem to me now like I was right in the middle of the school industry, the school system, and I was talking about being free. What, what confused soul?
But you know, like, but then let's just talk about another aspect of that. So in the end, you're coming home in the evening, having done a schoolwork. Oh, I've got to get on and mark these things. I've got to get that job out the way so I can move on to the next job. And oh, my hair's a mess, or whatever. And it's like all of this is conditioning. All of this is conditioning. There's no rush. You know, you go and speak to like in the people who live in the rainforest. You know, what's the big rush? You know, like where's the like
Yeah, that created this sense of urgency about everything. So you got into I had the setting of my operating system urgent. And it seemed like everything was urgent because as a teacher, everything was urgent. Everything. I had like 30 books to mark for the all the lessons of the day. So that's say 3 lessons, 3 lots of marking of so 90 books. Had to go through my fingers and I had to write a comment by hand. But I also had to read through all the writing, depending what it was, maths or English or something else. And that did create this sense of urgency. And I was operating under this default until I realized yesterday that I was doing that. So many years after that, after I've not been a teacher for what, 2 years now, three, and I'm still doing it, and I didn't even realize.
this is how sticky it is because every term of reference is referring to that system,
Yeah.
and when you start breaking the odd thing, it is never enough. You have to break all the things and change the way you come to a challenge such that it's not the matrix way, it's the freedom individual way. Like,
Mm.
this isn't even a question because, like you were saying earlier about going to you get married, you have kids, and you send the kids to school. It's like, well, what, to be
To learn
adopted,
that thing. Yeah.
to
To
just
learn
be,
that kind of behavior.
if you want to be free, why are you sending them to school? Oh, yeah, but we both have jobs. And oh, okay, so you're coming up with an answer, which is the money's good, so we send them to school and waste their lives.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
but we,
how is that you looking after your kids in a loving way? It's not. And what was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, I forgot now. Oh yeah, so how did I get to be able to cope with this urgency of all these jobs that needed to be done right now, immediately? Like you have the 30 minutes to do all of this. How did I manage? Because I had all the training of before that of my own going through school and having all this like all these different jobs, different homeworks, all of them they needed to be done. So I'm prepared for the next day because remember, I was supposed to prove myself worthy of this belonging to
so
this
if you,
school.
so,
And so, this worthiness thing,
so like this is parents doing what they think society's right because their pride would be affected if the teachers child was not doing like the best in the class. So there's the whole load of pride there
hmm,
which is being forced on you. You've now got the pressure of all of this, like, oh, I've got to do this. The kids are going out in the evening, riding their bikes, doing whatever they want, and you're stuck at home doing the homework because you've got to be the best. And like, oh, do you want to come out in the evening? Oh no, I've got to do my homework. They must have thought you were right, old dullo. Like, because it came to me, it's like I had table tennis match on Monday and Tuesday evening maybe, and my parents saying, "Oh yeah, okay, that's fine," and then someone messages you or rings you and says, "Oh, can you play on Wednesday?" And it's like, and then my
yeah,
answer was, "Yeah, I can play, no problem." And my mum goes, "What about your homework?" "Oh, it'll be all right, don't worry." And then then someone asked me to play on Thursday, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, you've got no, yeah, don't worry, I'll sort it out. And then I'm playing table tennis 4 nights a week, and the homework doesn't get done. And then the teacher says, why haven't you done your homework? Well, I was playing table tennis. Yeah, but what about the homework? Well, I don't know, I'll do it at some point. They're like, I'll have it done for Monday. and I'm playing a tournament somewhere at the weekends. I'm up early Monday morning. Dad takes me to school, and I'm like in the classroom at 7 o'clock in the morning, copying somebody else's homework. But what happened? Well, I didn't get A's. Well, that kind of performance, I didn't get A's, but I did pass them all, and
Mm,
I got through it. Now that's not, that's just an alternative approach, isn't it? But I had a great time at school. I had a great time playing table tennis, and I was, and I enjoyed it because I was doing what I wanted to do as well as passing the exams. And people used to say, "Oh, I've got an A," and I know, "Oh, I've got a C." It's like, yeah, great for you, well done, brilliant. I won a tournament the weekend. Yeah, I felt it was more of a
yeah.
balanced existence, and it was about being happy. And like qualifications at school really didn't do it for me, and no one's ever looked at them since. So,
Well, now I'm thinking about it. I really didn't like my school days. It was
mm,
as if I was just as if a shadow of me was me, and the rest was some kind of a confused person who was going through all the motions, ticking all the boxes, but really there was no. Well,
it seems to
that's
be
how
you
it comes
almost.
to me, like the shadow of me that was there. The shadow, not the shadow, the Jungian shadow. It's like a little element of me was there, but not all of me.
Well, it was a bit like you were an extension of your mum's desire to sort of almost like recreate her school days, and she perhaps wasn't comfortable with how she did, but you were going to do better, regardless of
I
whether
don't know. I haven't
you.
spoken to her about that.
But no, but what happened was you were an extension of her because of the pressure put on you to do this, this, and this. It wasn't like it wasn't like you were given a choice, which probably
I don't
means
know.
why you felt
I,
like you were.
I thought I chose it like this to be because the other option wasn't as good as that one.
The
So
other, the other option
that's
was to
where I
upset.
went for.
Well, the other option was to upset your parents, and you didn't want that.
Yeah.
You know, whereas my view was my parents did school years ago. They probably wouldn't even understand what we were doing at school, and I didn't even think about trying to make. I wasn't going to sit there and explain it to them. So if they wanted to know what we were doing, they could pick up my books and have a look at them if they wanted. But I wasn't going to help and support that. So they just didn't even know what was going on. All they could see was the reports at the end of the year. He could do better. Well, I said, yeah, I think I could. Um, but I'm not.
Sure. Why don't you?
Yeah,
Monkey.
I'm, yeah, I'm table tennis man. I'm not bothered about the exam
It's
results.
it's it's interesting how my classmates in the big school, they almost all of them had extra activities after school or before school, depending of how, because we were in shifts. They all had some else going on as well, just like you had your table
Right.
tennis. They all had something. One was playing basketball, another one was going to chess club, a third one was doing football, another one was going to art lessons. Uh, they all had something extra going on. And there was me having this feeling of urgency about everything and anything to do with school, and I couldn't believe how they could have free time to do what they love. I was really not. I thought maybe they're very clever, they can manage with all their jobs, or they just don't care about it. But I just couldn't even think about it those days. I couldn't imagine doing that. And there comes this feeling of urgency yesterday because I thought it was some kind of impatience I was having. Like, come on, and this needs to be done quickly, efficiently, and all of this. And then I thought about it, and it's not really impatience, like I'm excited for something to happen. It's not that. It's not impatience. It was this sense of anxiety, bordering on anxiety, but it was urgency, like it needs to be done now, quick. It's important, as if the world's gonna stop turning if it doesn't get done. Like repotting some tomatoes from the little seedlings from a big tray into individual pots, as if this will. I had the feeling that this is very urgent and needs to be done quickly and efficiently. And how come you can still be here 1 hour, 2 hours later, still doing this? How come you're so slow?
This and the tomatoes timing you, and it's saying, "Come on, otherwise I'm just going to keel over and die."
uh,
No,
yeah, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. So watch yourself, guys, and see
well, that means,
how.
and that is why it's sticky, because you're doing everything according to the matrix, and then now you're changing some of those things, but it doesn't work until you've changed all of those things, and
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because it's been programmed into you, hasn't it? And that's a programming according to one textbook, The Matrix. Now you've opened another textbook which hasn't got much in it, and
You have to write it down.
you've got to kind of create it as well, which is another thing. It's like, what am I going to do? Like when you give up work, the biggest problem for most people is I'm in control of my own time now. What am I going to do? That's a massive problem.
I do
What
remember that too. Yeah,
what am I
yeah.
going to do with my time, and how am I going to get the money at the end of the month and be responsible for that money so that I can pay my like, no, this is like the big wake up call, because all the, oh, I'm going to be leaving, that's all fine, but then the reality is, and it's how you deal with it, with this spirit of adventurer. Like you go on holiday, every day is an adventure because you don't know where you are, you don't know what you're doing, you're going and you're exploring. Why aren't we doing that in our lives? Because deep down we've been programmed that we need organization, control, and management in our lives. That's what we need, and actually we don't, because it's much more fun exploring.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been a bit of an extended one this morning, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this kind of conversation and stuff, then click the subscribe button and tick the alarm so you get notified of all the new stuff that we do most days. And like this one is good. And thanks for watching till the end if you've managed it.
And if you have a different situation to ours, we would like to hear about it. So write a comment. We'd like to read those. So thank you for watching again. See you
Bye
again
for
on another one.
now.
Bye.